I watched the Backrooms film the other night, and if you haven't seen it, it's one of the most original horror concepts to come along in years. The idea that you can just fall through reality, step wrong, and end up somewhere else. Somewhere that looks almost like the world you know, but isn't. Somewhere that hums with a presence you can't name. I related to it more than I expected, because I've been there. Not the back rooms exactly, but somewhere adjacent to it. Liminal spaces between this world and whatever is behind it. Rooms that don't exist on any map. Encounters that don't fit inside normal language. The Bible talks about heavenly places. Saint Teresa of Avila wrote an entire book called The Interior Castle, describing the inner rooms of the soul that most people never find. She wasn't speaking metaphorically. She was describing something real. These are my 3 encounters with the spiritual backrooms. Make of them what you will. This was years ago. I was alone in my room. I'd put on the soundtrack to Batman Returns, the Danny Elfman score. If you know that music, you know it isn't exactly relaxing. It's strange and circus dark and gothic in a way that gets under your skin. I wasn't trying to do anything. I wasn't praying. I wasn't meditating. I was just lying there, letting the music move through me. And then something shifted. The best way I can describe it, it was like a door opening inside my chest. And whatever I actually am, the part of me that isn't skin and bone and breathing, stepped through that door. I felt myself rise, and I could see my body on the bed below me, just lying there. Still breathing, still existing, but I was no longer in it. I drifted through the house. I could see everything with a clarity that normal vision doesn't have. The rooms looked the same, but felt different, like I was seeing them without the filter of the physical, the way a house looks in a dream, but somehow realer than a dream. I wasn't afraid. That's the part that surprises people when I tell this story. You'd think floating above your own body would trigger panic, but there was a peace to it, like the most natural thing in the world. I don't know how long it lasted. Time doesn't work the same way in that state. Eventually I was back, in my body, on the bed, the music still playing. I lay there for a long time afterward, just breathing, trying to hold on to the memory of what it felt like to exist without weight. I've never fully lost that memory. This one came as a vision. I was led, and I use that word deliberately because there's no better one, led into a room. The room was entirely white, not sterile white, not cold white, just complete. Like white was the only color that existed, and it was enough. Everything in the room was white. The walls, the floor, the furniture, all of it. And in the center of the room, sitting on a white table, was a coffee pot. An ordinary coffee pot. I know how that sounds, but stay with me. There were other people in the room, and one by one they drank from that coffee pot, and when they did, joy, not happiness exactly. Something deeper than happiness. The kind of joy that feels like it comes from somewhere outside yourself, moving through you rather than generated by you. Everyone who drank it was filled with it. There was a pastor in that room, a man who, at the time in waking life, was angry with me. We had a conflict between us, the kind of unresolved tension that sits in your chest and doesn't move. In the room, he wasn't angry. In the room, there was only the white and the coffee and the joy. And something shifted. Not long after, in waking life, I saw that pastor again. The anger was gone. Whatever had existed between us had dissolved. He was pleasant, present, like a different version of the same man. I don't know what that room was. I don't know if it was a vision, a dream, a genuine translation into some other space, but I know what happened in it was real, because I watched the evidence of it appear in the physical world. Some doors, when they open, change things on both sides. This one still gets to me. I was at the movies, seeing Interstellar, Christopher Nolan's film about space and time and the things we can't fully understand but keep reaching toward anyway. I remember thinking it felt like the right film for the questions I was carrying at the time. About halfway through, something changed. I felt heat. Not the heat of the room, not discomfort. This was something else. A heat that started inside and moved outward like something had been lit in my chest. I was sweating. My skin felt like it was on fire, but not burning. More like the way metal feels when it's been in the sun. Not painful, just intensely present. I was heavily sweating. I even felt like stripping off my clothes in the theater. Then I thought, I can't strip off my clothes. I'm in a movie theater. I felt that sensation before in prayer, in worship. It's what some traditions call the glory, the tangible weight of divine presence, making itself known through the body. I recognized it, but I wasn't in church. I was in a movie theater eating popcorn. And then I saw it. On the screen, not in the film, not a character, not a special effect, there was a face, an alien face, watching me from the screen the way you watch something you've been waiting to see for a long time, and I could hear its thoughts. Not words exactly, more like a meaning that arrived fully formed. I know who you are. That was it. 4 words, or the shape of 4 words, and then it was gone. I sat in that theater for the rest of the film with my heart pounding, sweating in the dark, trying to understand what I had just experienced. I still don't have a complete answer, but I've come to believe that whatever is behind this reality, whatever watches and moves and occasionally makes itself known, it isn't limited to the spaces we've designated as sacred. It finds you in theaters, in bedrooms with the music playing, in white rooms that shouldn't exist. It finds you wherever you are. The back rooms in the film are terrifying because they're empty, because you're alone in them, because whatever is in there with you doesn't mean you well. My back rooms have been different. Strange, yes. Disorienting, yes. The kind of experiences that don't fit inside the categories we're handed and make you feel a little crazy when you try to describe them. But not empty, never empty. If these stories resonated with you, if you've had your own encounters with whatever lives just past the edge of normal, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. And if you want to go deeper into the spiritual side of what I experience and write about, I explore all of it over on Substack. The link is in the description. I'm Kevin Frazier. I'll see you in the next one.